Tropical storm Ferdinand has just formed, and another tropical disturbance will impact the Caribbean in the coming days. Your forecast across the Caribbean and the Bahamas starts right now.
This is Meteo Mundo.
Hi friends, Rusty back here at Meteo Mundo. We are your home for Caribbean weather. Hey, it's nice to see you on a Saturday. I hope you're doing well, weekend warriors. Coming up in this video, hot off the presses, I'm talking about brand new information. Invest 90L is now Tropical Storm Ferdinand. We'll look at that. We have another Invest 99L, which is likely to impact the Caribbean in the coming days. And we've had some active weather across our area on this Saturday. There is, as always, this time of the year, a lot to get into. Let's get started. Meteo Mundo is sponsored by the lead law firm of Central Florida. They're your hometown homeowners insurance attorneys. A storm comes into your area, friends, you get damage of any kind. They'll walk you through every step of the insurance claim process. Go to leanonmelaw.com if you would like more information. As always, love to hear from the great MM community. Let me know what's happening in your area. Let me know where you're viewing from. I appreciate all the comments. So, brand new. We're going to have Tropical Storm Ferdinand. Now, here's the thing. I am recording this video before the Hurricane Center has actually issued their first official advisory on Ferdinand. They have put out, though, that they're going to begin issuing tropical storm advisories on Invest 90L coming up at 5 o'clock. I believe it's going to be Atlantic Standard Time. But here's the bottom line. We're going to get Ferdinand. Now, again, I'm recording this right before the first official advisory. So this is now Ferdinand. We don't have the first track yet, but from everything that I've seen, more than likely that first track is going to have it go just to the east of Bermuda. When we look at the tropical models that are running on Invest 90L/Ferdinand, we have these tracks to the east of Bermuda. Now, we'll see if there's going to be tropical storm watches or warnings issued for Bermuda, because Ferdinand is likely to continue to get stronger deeper into this Saturday and on Sunday, and just like Aaron did, could potentially become a fairly strong storm in a hurry. Now, most of the deep convection is east of the center of circulation. We actually have a buoy, which is not that far away from the center of Ferdinand right now, but it isn't really having a lot of stronger wind gusts. All of the deeper convection and the strongest winds are on the northeast side. That's typical. Your northeast quadrant is your strongest quadrant. This is the visible satellite imagery here. We're just beginning to see a better wrapped up system, and hurricane hunters have been investigating this, so we really have some true data out of the storm to warrant this becoming a tropical storm. So again, breaking news, we now have Tropical Storm Ferdinand, but again, just recording this just before the first advisory has been issued. Now, what I will do is I will put a pinned comment on this video with the first advisory and any other pertinent information, including a tropical storm watch or warning for our friends in Bermuda. Right now, the center of circulation is located about 400 miles to the south-southeast. The good news is, if this does track off to the east, it means the weaker western side of Ferdinand will be impacting Bermuda. We're obviously going to kick up sea conditions. There's going to be some swells, marine interests, all small craft are going to be back in port, and then we'll just have to see how much wind we can get out of this storm. Now, coming up, I'll show you all the newest model information on Ferdinand and how this is likely to evolve. This will quickly pass by. It's going to impact Bermuda mainly late tonight, overnight, and throughout the day Sunday, and then be off to the north and to the east, with conditions getting a lot better into the area on Monday. Let's get into the rest of what's happening now. The next thing I want to do is talk about Invest 90L. This one, just like, this is 99L. This one, just like Ferdinand, is a very interesting system. Look, the Hurricane Center has dropped this back down to a limit, just a 20% chance of development, because it has been fighting dry air and shear throughout its entire journey across the Atlantic basin here. But, you know, it still looks okay. If you notice, there is this upper level low to the north and to the west, and basically 99L is riding along with that, but it's also producing its own environment. And although it's wrapped up with a lot of drier air and a moderate level of Saharan dust, it's still able to produce its own moisture out ahead of it. So it's not falling apart. As a matter of fact, on this water vapor imagery, you see those deeper blues. It's actually had a nice little blow up of convection. That was the upper level water vapor imagery. This is the low level water vapor imagery. We are getting some convection to redevelop on the northwest side of this thing. There is no sign, at least in my opinion, that this is going to just dissipate and fizzle out in the coming days. We're going to have to keep a close eye on this one, my friends. Now, again, at this point in time, the Hurricane Center does not expect this to develop before it gets into the Windward Islands. At this point in time, it's about 620 miles from Barbados. It's going to kick up sea conditions. We're going to get some swells coming in, and it's going to bring some squalls. But as far as actually becoming a tropical depression or a tropical storm, again, at this point in time, the Hurricane Center only has a 20% chance of that happening in the next 48 hours. But looking relatively impressive. We'll see if it holds together overnight and how it comes into play as we get into our Sunday. Now, we've got kind of part one into this area, but coming up, we're going to look at the models where some of them try and keep this holding together into the central and eastern, even the western Caribbean. The models do not have a good handle on this, but this could continue to be an impactful tropical disturbance throughout a lot of the Caribbean in the next 5 to 7 days. So now I want to get into what's happening across the area now. Since we're here, we're just going to start with what's going on in the Windward Islands for today. Look, tropical moisture is coming back in. We're getting fresher breezes from time to time. We've had some downpours here or there, and we're going to start to kick up the winds. At this point in time, no prominent gusts, but again, places like Barbados already have some marine advisories issued. They're going to have some swells there on the northern and the western coastline that could reach 2.5 meters or up to 8 feet. So small craft really need to be paying attention to that. We've had a couple of showers and thunderstorms mainly in Trinidad and Tobago for today. And again, your yellow development area as a possibility, a low end chance from the Grenada area, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, including St. Lucia, Martinique, on up towards Dominica. For the short term, though, I'm just going to drop off this yellow development area. Again, we will see tropical moisture coming back in, and regardless of development, Invest 99L is going to throw some rain and some squally weather into the forecast, beginning especially tomorrow in at least the first half of Monday. This is a live look outside the Corinth, St. Lucia. Friends, if you're new to the channel, we have live cameras across the Caribbean to help tell your weather story. So love to show you this live shot late on this Saturday for our friends here in St. Lucia. And again, this tells the story. Not a lot of wind so far, but relatively overcast skies and a couple of passing showers from time to time there. The other big story a lot of you have mentioned, and I get it, is that it has been darn hot. When it is not raining, temperatures have been extremely on the hot side. We'll continue to see a couple of passing showers for Dominica and Guadeloupe. More moisture is currently into play with some showers developing over places like Anguilla, St. Bart, St. Martin, Saba, St. Eustatius, St. Kitts and Nevis, Antigua, Barbuda. Again, they're not going to be very widespread, but some low and mid-level cloud coverage will produce the opportunity for a couple of showers. If you've had a little bit of this rain in the Leeward Islands today, let me know in the comments section below. You notice St. Martin has had a 22-mile-an-hour wind gust, but that is nothing compared to some of the thunderstorms that have developed over Puerto Rico at the hour. First of all, right now, it's been a relatively tranquil day over the U.S. and British Virgin Islands. Again, a little bit of extra cloud coverage right now, but what we're really focusing in on in Puerto Rico is some localized thunderstorms. Those areas in yellow are what we call special weather statements. The National Weather Service in San Juan has issued those. That is a 50-mile-an-hour wind gust as San Juan had earlier today. Locally heavy rain and a lot of gusty winds. I can show you guys the live radar here out of Puerto Rico. Take a look at it. Look at all of the lightning right now over the San Juan area, towards Rio Grande, Vieques area, trying to kind of drift off towards the east, Carolina. So again, heavy thunderstorms, north central, northeast sides of the islands, locally heavy downpours could lead to some isolated flooding. Keep that in mind. We have a couple of heavier showers towards the Arecibo area, just to the east of Aguadilla, just to the north of Uti Alto, places like that. Basically the northern coastline, hefty thunderstorms across Puerto Rico at the hour, and they're trying to actually move off towards the east. I know it's a little bit different pattern than what you typically see when I put this into motion. There's not going to be a lot of drift here. It's kind of east and then kind of building up to the north as well. So moving off of the coastline, if anything else. A couple of other thunderstorms are definitely going to make a run into the eastern sides of the Dominican Republic, La Ramada and Punta Cana, showers and storms. But hefty activity in a localized fashion across portions of Puerto Rico and the eastern side of the DR here late on this Saturday afternoon. Back over to the infrared satellite imagery. Again, just good moisture in play here, and thunderstorms are breaking out across Hispaniola at the hour. So they're building into Santo Domingo as well, just to the north of Bani and Azua, south of Santiago de los Caballeros, the Samana Peninsula, healthy thunderstorms even towards Port-au-Prince, just east of Lacaille there in the peninsula of Haiti. It's widespread thunderstorms across the area for today. Locally heavy downpours could lead to some flooding, so keep that in mind, especially in some of the low-lying areas when the rain coming off of the higher terrain. It's been a beautiful afternoon so far for my friends in Jamaica. Again, a couple of passing showers possible, but so far it's been a quieter day as far as that goes, and you guys have been talking about the heat. Right now in Montego Bay, it's about 88, 89 degrees, so you're pushing 31, 32 degrees Celsius. When you factor in the humidity, the feels like temperature is over 105 degrees Fahrenheit for a time. It also feels like it's about, 108 in Little Cayman right now. That's no fun for Little Cayman and Cayman Brac. Grand Cayman's feels like temperature has hit 108 Fahrenheit as well. Again, what that is what does it really feel like on the body when you step outside? So many of you in the comment section below have said, Rusty, look, we get there's the tropics out there, but I'm telling you as well, it is stinking hot in our areas, and I get it. You got to avoid that midday sun if you can. Make sure that you drink plenty of water. Be sure to hydrate. A couple of passing showers possible for the southeast Bahamas and Turks and Caicos for today, if nothing else. A little bit of extra cloud coverage. We're going to get some stronger thunderstorms building back into the central and especially the northern and northwest Bahamas again for today. Prolific, and I mean prolific, storms are developing over Florida at the hour. This is a live look to the radar. I'm going to drop off the satellite data. Yes, this is all rain. We have a stalled out boundary in the northern part of Florida, moisture south of that through the eastern Gulf across the peninsula of Florida and riding from west to east into places like Walker's Key, Grand Bahama, the Abacos, Bimini, Andros, New Providence, Eleuthera, all with the opportunity for some stronger storms. A lot of lightning, probably running the boaters back in a little bit earlier on this Saturday than they want to. Some gusty winds as well. Those are your current temperatures on the board. This is what it looks like as far as winds go at the hour. Had a 30-mile-an-hour wind gust around Freeport and 30 to 40-plus mile-an-hour winds with these building thunderstorms late this afternoon and this early evening. Certainly not out of the question here for the northern Bahamas. Now, look, it's a gorgeous shot at Eleuthera. We're just south of all the activity here in Governor's Harbor. You know, we've seen a couple of passing showers, but right now in Eleuthera, things are looking pretty good. Again, there's an isolated storm here, but all the activity so far generally is just to the north and to the west of where we have that live camera for you guys. Okay, back out here to our satellite data, and we're going to work our way on. Cuba, few thunderstorms developing, but locally, you know, Cienfuegos about a 35-mile-an-hour breeze with the storms, but so far it's been a little bit drier here. When I show you guys the water vapor imagery again, we just have a little bit more drier air in the northwest northwest Caribbean in general. So yes, we're going to get some thunderstorms developing over Quintana Roo later in the day. Some of the storms could produce some locally heavy rainfall and a lot of lightning, but we've really yet to crank that up. So again, heat is a big story here throughout Quintana Roo and Belize and Guatemala. La Ceba's had a 28-mile-an-hour breeze. We're trying to pull in a couple of showers over the Bay Islands at the hour. Moisture is much more concentrated right now. The southern sides of Nicaragua towards Costa Rica and Panama with our monsoon trough. So thunderstorms really developing there at the hour. And some of this moisture is trying to swing towards the ABC Islands. It's kind of just off towards the west. So right now, Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao looks very nice. Still have that deck of high clouds here, so it's kind of filtered sunshine. But again, a live look outside to Oranjestad. What a beautiful day. Still a fresh wind. Still going to be some 20 to 30-mile-an-hour wind gusts from time to time, my friends, there. Let's get into the forecast. Thanks for taking a quick second and hitting that like button for me. I appreciate those who do that. And subscribe. You want these tropical updates and your daily forecasts across the Caribbean and the Bahamas. You found your home. Thanks for sharing this channel with your family and friends. Appreciate all those who support the channel as well, including the members here at Meteo Mundo. That's the join button that you see. For just 99 cents a month, you can become a member here and help support the channel. All right, let's get into the models with our tropical systems and then your island by island rainfall forecast. So we're going to start off here. I'm actually going to have to do this real fast. We're going to look at the GFS model first. Now, again, we're just getting this becoming a tropical storm, right? The GFS model, in my opinion, is not doing a good job with this thing. It really keeps it as a very sloppy system. I wanted to show you this to note that it is also pulling it east of Bermuda as well. I don't really think that this is the best model to show you guys as far as what is actually going to happen. So I'm going to switch over here to, our NAM model. It's not the best when it comes to tropical systems overall, but I think it has a pretty good handle on Ferdinand in particular here, just to show you again that we should have a developing system that should be getting stronger and is likely to stay east of Bermuda. And again, look at the time frame. This is not going to be, miles down the road. We're going to start to see the winds pick up in Bermuda overnight, throughout the day on your Sunday, and then most of what is going to be this storm will impact the area no later than Sunday night and beginning to pull out of the Bermuda area as we get into early on Monday. This should continue then to turn to the north and to the east, just like Aaron did. Look, we already have a ton of wave action left over from Aaron along the United States East Coast and the Canadian coastline. This storm shouldn't really add to that, but it's not going to obviously help dissipate the wave action here in the Western Atlantic Basin. So again, for Bermuda, this is what I expect. This is the European model ensembles of the storm. Again, nice slow loop. We'll pause it here. This is going to be late Sunday evening. Again, mainly east or southeast of Bermuda. We don't have any of the ensembles that are directly over the island. This is a good scenario because, again, we keep the weaker west side of the storm over Bermuda. Half-say model, late tomorrow afternoon. There's Bermuda. There's the center, 220 miles east-southeast of Bermuda. And that's good because the half-say has this with maximum sustained winds of 70 miles an hour. It is teetering on Category 1 strength. So going from just developing to nearly a Cat 1 in 24 hours. We'll see how it plays out. We'll see what the Hurricane Center wants to do, if they're going to keep this a tropical storm or make this into a low-end hurricane. Obviously, it's not going to have a ton of time to develop as it gets into the cooler waters of the North Atlantic, but it's not going to be surprising if we have a Cat 1 hurricane a couple hundred miles east of Bermuda by late on Sunday. And I didn't have time to update the graphic. You can slice the Ferdinand name off the list as well. So again, we now have our 6th named storm of the Atlantic hurricane season. The question becomes, my friends, does Invest 99 become Gabrielle? So now we have Ferdinand, so this become Gabrielle. Well, let's look at that. We'll swing on over here. Again, I'm going to update the model real fast for you guys behind the scenes. Give me just 1 second here. We'll go out a couple of days. We're going to obviously look at what's happening here with 99L, and then I'm going to have your island by island forecast. Now, based on the GFS model, again, the GFS model, I know it doesn't look like much, but this is more organized than what we had 24 hours ago. And what I mean by that is that 99L tries to hold together on the GFS into the Eastern Caribbean. Yesterday, it just was an elongated wave and just bringing some showers and storms, but there is still a broad twist to the wind field, even if it's a mid-level circulation. And the interesting thing about it is now our global models, our GFS and our European models, are trying to hold this together farther into the Caribbean. So it's an interesting solution coming up, friends. Certainly one that we can't just ignore. Now, in the short term, what do I expect for the Lesser Antilles in general? I expect rain and squally weather to as we get into, Sunday and Monday. So this is 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. We're going to start to see some breezy conditions. Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Barbados, Grenada, Trinidad, Tobago. But the moisture axis is elongated. So we are going to get some showers back up to Antigua, Barbuda, and Anguilla associated with this. But the bulk of the rain, the bulk of whatever 99L is, as it comes through the Lesser Antilles, should mainly impact Dominica South, especially Martinique, St. Lucia, Barbados, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Grenada as it pulls through. Should get out of the way sometime on Sunday and then into early on Tuesday. But, again, do you see a lot here? No. But do we continue to see a broader spin holding on south of Puerto Rico, south of the Dominican Republic? We do. If I show you guys the wind fields associated with this right now, let me loop this up. These are going to be your sustained surface winds. I'm going to take off that yellow area because it's just a little bit easier to see. So there's a nice, fresh easterly breeze that's coming in, which is why we're going to be elevating the marine conditions. So, I already mentioned that Barbados has some marine advisories in a pack for some long swells, northern and western sides of the islands. Other islands could come under other marine advisories. Obviously, small craft really need to keep in mind. Anytime you get to those whites, my friends, we're getting up to 30 and 40 mile an hour winds. So we will have some gusts, more than likely above 40 miles an hour, sometime late tomorrow, overnight, and early on Monday for the southern half of the Lesser Antilles. Then this just tries to kind of stay together. Nothing extremely crazy here, but the fact that we're holding on to a little bit of a spin, not much there, but just a little bit, is something to certainly monitor. If I take the model and we go out to a little bit higher winds, and I'm just going to kind of pause it here. Let me go out a couple of days and pause it. This is the mid-level winds. We still don't see much, right? But the winds, there's still a broad profile to look at. And let me show you this one. This is the interesting one. The newest run of the European model has really clinged on to a solution that keeps 99L going and actually strengthens it in the central and the northwest Bahamas. It's the first model to say, look, not only does 99L stay together, it actually strengthens as we go through the rest of next week into the central and the northwest Caribbean. So again, you'll see it coming in here late Sunday, Monday, and then the ensembles, several of them as we get into Wednesday, Thursday, and early on Friday, keep it together in the northwest Caribbean. So we cannot just discount this invest. We can't just say goodbye to it. It is one that we have to monitor each and every day. Now, let me tell you this right now. The models do not have a good handle on this, and that's fine. That's fairly typical, especially with a system that doesn't have a defined low-level center of circulation. To have this kind of model spread from absolutely nothing that some of the tropical models are showing to a decent development in the European model, we see it all the time. We are lucky. It is both a blessing and a curse to have all of this information to be able to look at it so far ahead of time when these storms are just developing, because sometimes they hold together and sometimes they don't. And with a system like this, look, there's not a lot of, certain concrete things we can say. We have to just simply watch this through time, through evolution. But I like to talk about trends. And on the European model, this trend is kicked up the notch. If you look at the pressures, so you get into these, oranges and reds, and you get stronger storms with lower pressure. So certainly it's a weaker storm regardless in the Eastern Caribbean, but by Wednesday, as it gets closer to Jamaica and the Cayman Islands, some of the ensemble solutions of the European not only hold it together, but make it a stronger storm. So that's what we have to monitor here. Again, each and every day, we'll keep a very close eye on it. Let me go back over to the broad perspective here. And just to show you guys the tropical models that are running on this. So this is going to be your spread from all of the tropical models. So you have as far north as Dominica, as far south as Grenada. That's still a relatively tight cluster and basically within that development area from the Hurricane Center. Then you have a larger spread. But look, if a model doesn't think that it's going to hold together, that line will stop. You're still seeing plenty of them pull it into the central and even the Western Caribbean throughout the week. 99L is one we got to keep a real close eye on here, my friends. Again, initially, just a rainmaker for the Eastern Caribbean. Here we go, island by island rain chance. Strong thunderstorms are possible the next several days in the northwest Bahamas. Keep that in mind, at least through Monday, if not Tuesday. Scattered to isolated rain. Rest of the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, not a lot. Cuba's rain chances are still relatively high, especially western and northern sides of the islands. Cayman Islands will build a rain chance up on Monday, 40% chance on Tuesday. Building rain chances in places like Belize, still a decent chance for Cancun and Cozumel, locally heavier downpours, especially in the late afternoon. Rain chances will build throughout Jamaica, especially in the southern and western parishes. The Dominican Republic's rain chances stay decent. We had some good thunderstorms for today. They may be a little bit drier the next couple of days. Same situation for my friends in Puerto Rico. The locally heavy downpours are still in the forecast. Not a lot of rain for the the Virgin Islands next couple of days, but we'll build it a little bit on Monday. Again, Bermuda being impacted by Tropical Storm Ferdinand. Hopefully not direct impacts. That's what it looks like as of now. Anguilla, we're going to see a 30 to a 40% chance the next couple of days, 40 to 50 in St. Kitts and Nevis. Barbuda, Antigua, Montserrat, places like that, best rain chance on Monday. Kind of flat rain chances, Guadeloupe, Dominica. Now let me also say this. There are times that I'm highly confident on the rain chances in these areas, depending on what I've seen. But because 99L is such a sloppy, erratic storm, and how it is going to be coming through these areas is still up in the air, my rain chance on a daily basis, again, do I have the highest of confidence? No. Do I have a decent feel for it? Yes. But we could certainly get more rain in our southern areas if 99L is more of a wrapped-up storm. Certainly a wind possibility with some of these squalls. But I do expect the highest chance for these areas to be on Sunday for Barbados, Grenada, Trinidad, Tobago. That's late tomorrow. And then still a decent chance on Monday, but beginning to fade. And then it'll be drier behind the system beginning on Tuesday. Good rain chances for Suriname and Guyana, scattered showers and storms in Nueva Esparta and the ABC Islands. As I have mentioned, regardless of what Ferdinand does, there is still a copious amount of wave action in the Western Basin, what has been left over from Aaron. Obviously, if you're closer to 99L, you're going to get some direct impact wave-wise with that. So again, fresh waves. Look at these waves here in the Atlantic Basin, and then you're going to have, again, 99L coming through, and we hold at least together enough of a circulation to produce some stronger wave action and wind action in the Central Caribbean in the coming days as well. European rainfall totals, again, we miss Bermuda with the stout rain. We're going to get some squalls and some gusty conditions, but overall, Bermuda may not actually get a ton of rain out of this. This stalled boundary is going to produce a heck of a lot of rain over Florida and the Northwest Bahamas for the coming days. Places like Grand Bahama and the Abacos could get 3, 4, maybe 5 inches of rain in the coming days. And you can clearly see that the European model holds together some of this and produces a lot of rain eventually in the central and the western side of the Caribbean, but also some locally heavy downpours for the Lesser Antilles. Again, it's going to be really spotty, but the opportunity for a couple of inches of rain, 50 to 100 millimeters, is not out of the question. Friends, I appreciate you guys. You know you can follow us across all social media. We're on Instagram, TikTok, X, and Facebook. If you'd like to send me a picture or video to help tell the weather story in your area, the easiest way to do it is myMediaMundo@gmail.com. As always, if you have a specific question about the forecast, feel free to drop it in the comments section below. While you're down there, thank you for liking and subscribing. And please remember that Meteo Mundo is sponsored by the Lean Law Firm of Central Florida, your hometown homeowners insurance attorney. Storm comes into your area, you get damage of any kind. Wind, hail, hurricane, they'll walk you through every step of the insurance claim process. LeanOnMeLaw.com if you would like more information. We now have Tropical Storm Ferdinand closely monitoring Invest 99L. I'll have the latest information for you coming up tomorrow. I appreciate you guys. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you soon right here at Meteo Mundo.